You're losing deals because you won't shut up. I've closed over 10 million in sales using one framework, and it's the opposite of what most people teach. You don't need more tactics. You don't need more scripts. You need to stop doing the things that are killing your deals. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 5 phases every sale goes through and the one shift that separates top performers from everyone else. Now, here's the truth that most people never want to hear. The first person you have to sell is yourself prior to meeting with any prospect. If you don't believe in what you're selling, they won't either. They're going to feel every doubt in every word. And if they don't believe in your belief, they're never going to buy. Sales is never about convincing people to buy something they don't want. That's manipulation, and it just doesn't work. Real sales is about solving problems. The best salespeople see themselves as doctors, not vendors. Sales professionals are want creators. Great sales professionals find out exactly what their prospect wants and they show them how to get it. Think about it. When you go to a doctor, they don't immediately prescribe medication. They ask questions. They diagnose. Then they recommend a solution. That's exactly what you need to do. So stop trying to sell. Start trying to help. When you genuinely care about solving someone else's problem, everything is going to change. Your energy changes. Your questions change, and people really feel it. All rejection is data. It's not failure. Selling is the highest paid profession in the world, and here's why. Great salespeople don't take rejection personally. They don't internalize it. They interpret it. Every single no sharpens their message. Every objection strengthens their certainty. Every setback raises their standard. And that's why they get paid at the top levels, because they keep moving when everyone else collapses. They stay in the game. They stay in identity. They stay in service. They're paid more because they can withstand more. That is the currency of greatness. Confidence comes from competence. You can never fake it. It comes from knowing your product inside and out, understanding your customers' pain points, and having a proven process. People always buy from people they trust, and trust comes from authenticity. It comes from expertise and genuinely caring about their needs. Get the mindset right, and the tactics become 10 times more effective. But mindset alone won't close deals. Here's the deal. Amateurs wing it. Professionals prepare. Elite sales professionals practice their presentation until they can't get it wrong. Amateurs practice until they get it right one time. There's a massive difference. This reminds me of a story I have to share. The first time I was ever going to speak in public on stage, I was so nervous. The night before, I was practicing my presentation over and over again, and I promise you, I screwed up at least 100 times. I get a text message at 5 a.m. from my mentor, Bob Proctor. He says, come in my hotel suite and let's go over your presentation. Now, for me, I was already nervous, but I was more nervous to practice my presentation in front of him. Well, I knock on his suite and he answers, and I'm always laughing about this because he answered the door in this white robe. And I said, Bob, what have you been doing? You texted me early. He said, I've been up, Arash, for the past 2 hours. I said, what have you been doing? He said, I've been practicing my presentation. And he gave me some of the best pointers. And one of the best pointers I got to share with you, he said, if you screw up on stage, keep going because nobody else will know. But then I said, how long have you been practicing your presentation? He said, ever since I got off stage last night, I was up till 12 o'clock in the morning practicing my presentation. I said, Bob, you've been doing this for over 50 years. He said, Arash, you can always get better. And this is why it's so important to know your product like the back of your hand. Not casually, not pretty well. You should know it so deeply, so thoroughly, that when someone asks what you do, the answer flows out of you with absolute certainty. But here's the key. You must believe in your product at the highest level, because if you don't believe, the prospect never will. Your belief is the signal. Your belief is the transfer. Your belief is the reason they say yes. When you know your product and you believe in it, you can explain what you do in a way that is so concise, so clear, and so powerful because you're not trying to convince them. You're simply speaking from truth. That's when selling becomes simple. That's when you move people. That's when your identity closes the deal before your words ever do. Look, Objections are not the end of a sales conversation. They're the beginning. Most people freeze when they hear an objection. World-class salespeople expect them. They anticipate them. They prepare for them before the call even starts. And listen, objections are not signals that the prospect doesn't want to buy. Objections are simply the mind trying to make sense of a new opportunity. Every product on earth has objections. It's too expensive. It's not the right time. I need to think about it. None of those are barriers. They're just data points showing you exactly where their old identity is trying to hold on. Your job isn't to avoid objections. Your job is to lead them with certainty, with service, and belief. That's what really closes deals. That's what builds wealth. That's what makes you unstoppable in sales. But here's where most people blow it. They talk way too much. They pitch too early. They lose the deal. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got from my mentor, he said, Arash, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Shut up and listen. And that's why the discovery conversation is about asking questions and listening. Your job is to understand their situation deeply before you ever mention your solution. Start with rapport. Don't rush into business. Don't dive straight into the offer. Take the first few minutes to connect as a human being. People always buy from people they trust, people they feel safe with, people they actually like. Connection lowers resistance before the presentation even begins. So once that foundation is set, you transition into discovery. This is where you lead them into their truth. You're not interrogating, you're guiding them to clarity they never had. Here's my $1 million questions framework. What do you really want more than anything else? Get them to articulate their desires in their own words. Walk me through how you're currently living. What does that look like day to day? This is going to reveal patterns, identity, habits, and gaps. Now we have to find the pain points. What's the biggest challenge you're facing with your current approach? And how is that affecting your life, your business, your relationships? People don't buy solutions. They buy relief from what's costing them their potential. What is the cost of not solving this? This is where they feel the real price of staying the same. If you solve this perfectly, what would that look like? If in 6 months you doubled your productivity, how much would that change your life? Now we have to build urgency. How urgent is solving this for you? What happens if you wait another 6 months? These questions create awareness, and awareness creates decisions. When someone becomes clear about what they want, what it's costing them, and what their future could look like, the sale becomes effortless. Listen more than you talk. The ratio should be 70% them, 30% you. When they're talking, they're telling you exactly how to sell them. Take notes. Repeat back what you're hearing. So if I understand correctly, the biggest issue is X, and it is costing you Y. Is that right? This shows you're listening and clarifies their needs. Never skip this step. Now here's how you present without sounding like every other salesperson. Nobody cares about features. They care about what those features do for them. Most people present features when they should be presenting outcomes. What you need to focus on is recap their needs first. Based on our conversation, here's what I'm hearing. You're struggling with X, it's costing you Y, and you need a solution that does Z. Does that sound right? This gets them nodding yes before you even pitch. You never sell features. You sell outcomes. You sell identity. You sell time, energy, certainty, and money. Most people say things like, we have automation features, nobody cares. Here's the difference in my language. You told me you're spending 2 to 3 hours every day trying to motivate yourself, trying to get clarity, trying to get your head right before you even start working. Inside this system, you don't spend hours trying to figure it out. You start your day already aligned, already decisive, already in your peak identity. That's not just clarity. That's 10 to 15 hours a week you get back. And when you get those hours back in the right identity, that turns directly into income. I didn't say we teach mindset. I said you get 15 hours back that you can convert into money, into momentum, and into results. That's the difference. Here's another story I love to use. You told me you're losing entire days, getting stuck in hesitation, starting and stopping, overthinking decisions, waiting for confidence to show up. What we do is we eliminate hesitation. We teach decision before evidence. You don't waste days in doubt, you move instantly. That's not a mindset lesson. That's hundreds of hours a month you reclaim. And when you reclaim time, your income goes up, period. Another version I love to use in my sales presentation regarding identity. For example, you told me you're spending your week fighting your old identity, trying to stay consistent, trying to stay disciplined, trying to stay focused. What we do is replace the old identity with the version of you who executes automatically. That doesn't just feel better, it frees your whole bandwidth. When you stop battling yourself every day, you instantly free up the mental space to create money, to make moves, and to lead. That's worth more than any feature. You mentioned you're losing 3 hours a day on manual data entry. Our system automates that entire process. That's 15 hours a week you can spend on revenue generating activities instead. I didn't say we have automation features. I said you get 15 hours back to make more money. That's the difference. I love to add social proof, such as we've helped companies just like yours achieve results like this. Company ABC had the exact same challenge, and within 90 days, they saw a 40% reduction in processing time. People need to see that others like them have succeeded. Address objections before they bring them up. Now, you might be thinking about the investment required or how much time implementation takes. Let me address that. Handle the big ones preemptively, then create urgency. Every month you wait is another month you're losing those 15 hours. Over a year, that's 780 hours of lost productivity. Keep your presentation to 30 minutes maximum. We've all heard the money objection. It's too expensive. This isn't about price, it's about value. I understand the investment is significant. Let's look at the return on investment. You're currently losing $10,000 a month in lost productivity. Our solution costs $3,000. You're profitable in the first month. Does that make sense? Here's another one. I need to think about it. This means they're uncertain about something. Absolutely. I want you to feel confident. What specifically do you need to think about? Is it the pricing, the timeline, or something else? Get to the real objection. Here's an objection I've heard 1,000 times. It's not the right time. What we have to do with this objection is challenge it gently. When you say it's not the right time, what would need to change for it to be the right time? Often there's no good answers and they realize they're just procrastinating. At this point, the sale is won. After your presentation, use a trial close. Based on everything we've discussed, does this feel like the right solution for what you're trying to accomplish? If they say yes, move to the close. Great. The next step is getting you started. We can have you up and running right away. Does that timeline work for you? It's so important to stay calm, ask clarifying questions, and reframe around value. Never argue, never pressure. Guide them to see clearly. When you get the yes, make the next steps crystal clear. I'm going to send over the agreement today. You'll sign and return it, and we'll schedule your onboarding call. Sound good? Clarity removes buyer's remorse and keeps momentum going. Now, I would love to know, which phase do you struggle with the most? Is it discovery? Is it closing? Is it handling objections? Let me know it in the comments so I can help with those things in future videos. Thanks for watching.